Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to replace a valve cover gasket on this is a 97 Mazda Protege, but it's pretty universal for most cars. The valve cover gasket, for those who don't know, is the gasket that seals right along here between the valve cover and the block and prevents all of that from forming right there, all the oil that's leaked out of there. That's the sign that you have a bad valve cover gasket. So, first thing that you're going to need to do is obviously clean up all the crap right here, because yeah, that's just good to have out of there before you replace it and have it fall into the engine. Alright, once you get that relatively cleaned up around the edges, we are going to take a pair of pliers and just get these little snap rings up and off so that we can pull off so that we can pull off the breather tube that connects here, and then there's also one that connects to the manifold that comes in that you'll take that off too. Alright, now that we've got the two breather hoses disconnected, we will remove the spark plugs, and yeah, really simple. You don't have to take the entire spark plug out, just the little igniter thing. You can leave the spark plug actually in the hole. Alright, so before you go too far, on some cars, these spark plug wires, like for mine, it's pretty simple. They're all different lengths, so it's easy to see which one goes where, But on some cars, they might be the same length or, some other form of application. So you can always just take a sticky note and mark on here, which one goes where up here. Alright, so now that we've got all those out and moved out of the way, you can leave their little things in here. They're not going to be a problem. Next thing you want to do is take off, this is the AC line, doesn't matter, I think it's high pressure. But either way, it bolts onto the valve cover here, so we're just going to have to take this bolt and this bolt off, and then we can pull it away. Alright, so now that that is removed, the last thing to do is just take off all the bolts that are lining the valve cover. The ones on the front, back, and these ones in the middle too. For my car, it's a 10mm socket. I'm just using a drill with a bit attachment. Doesn't matter, whatever you use, and whatever size. So now we do that. Alright, also for me, these bolts, just so I remember which ones go where and everything, since I've taken these two out, I am putting them on the ground right here in order. So this is the far right one, this is the middle one, then the other one's going to go over here. And in that kind of pattern. It's just nice, so that you remember which order or where they went, so you don't mix them up by accident. Alright, so now I've got every screw out, and in the little pattern down here. So now, this valve cover is of course going to be pretty hard to get off. So, best thing would probably be get like a flathead screwdriver, or some form of smaller pry bar to actually separate it down here, otherwise you're going to have quite a struggle getting it off. Alright, so with enough power and prying, you can get the valve cover off. Here is the gasket of the old one. This is the one that we're going to be replacing because it's obviously leaky. Yeah, when you pull this off, just keep it upside down or whatever, really, just so that all the oil in here doesn't drain out. The oil up here shouldn't drain out, otherwise you've overfilled your car. If you really wanted to, which wouldn't be a bad idea, you can replace your spark plugs. They're right down in here. You can just replace that along with your, when your valve cover is off, it just makes it easy. If you're ever wondering, this right here is your camshaft. It deals with, timing of the engine, how much air, how much gas is going to be flowing in, all that stuff. Good time to check your timing belt too. Got a little saw something right there on mine. The belt doesn't look too bad though, so that's good. But, yeah. So now all we have to do is take this old gasket and just peel it out of its place, and then we'll put the new one in. Alright, so here's my old gasket. I'm just putting it in the oil pan because it's oily. And here's the new one. It's definitely a lot cleaner, a lot better condition. So now we'll take this, and if I put it in right, yeah. You're basically, of course, just gonna line it up and then press fit it into the groove. Like that. Alright, now that we've got the new gasket all in and all lined up, we can flip it and put it back up against here and then rebolt it down. Alright, now that it's back on, you're going to want to check in these spark plug holes just to make sure that everything stayed in place. If you see any black rubber, or even these holes, in any of those it may have came out, loosened up or whatever. Shouldn't happen, but, you know, just in case. And now, with your bolts back here, you can stick them back in. If you want to be really professional, you can look up the torque spec of them and, you know, actually put them back into that dimension. I'm honestly just gonna drill them back into fairly tight, and that'll be good. By the way, while tightening these down, don't do full tightness just yet, and kind of do them in like an offset pattern, however you want, just so that you don't, you know, tighten down one side more than the other. And then when you get them all like generally down and good, then you can actually tighten them up. Alright, now that every bolt is in and tightened down, we can put back on our breather tubes. Yeah. And put back in the spark plugs. Also, if you have an old brittle hose like this one, which has a big old crack in it, it'd be a good idea to replace that. I'm not gonna, because this isn't my daily driver. This is just a project car so that I can replace stuff and make videos on it. But for you guys with your actual cars, or with your daily drivers, not actual cars, this one also has a crack in it somewhere. I don't remember where. Either way, you'd probably want to replace these hoses. Of course, it depends on how old the car is and how good the hoses are. Both of these are super stiff, really brittle, really easy to crack, so if this was my daily driver, I'd replace them. Honestly, if it's flexible still and is nice and rubbery, you can keep them, they'll be good. Alright, so once you've got everything hooked back up and together, you have successfully replaced your valve cover gasket. So, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe and like my videos. That's all.